What's up, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Everyday Discipline, where we decode, deconstruct, and reverse engineer self-discipline for you to get whatever it is you want in your life. And I'm talking about anything. Like if you want a better business and you want to make more money, discipline's the answer. If you want a better body, discipline's the answer there too. If you want better relationships, like the crazy, deep, connected ones that you say you want, discipline is the answer there too. It's the one thing, the one trait and skill that will give you everything that you want. And you can't say that about a whole lot of skills. So that's what we talk about on this show. My name is Brent Kokel. I am your host. Thank you so much for being on the show here with me today. I'm just going to get right to it if you don't mind. So this was something that would have pissed me off and actually did, but I handled it in a way different way than I would have even 6 months ago, 8 months ago. And there's a really valuable lesson in what happened to me that I think you guys are going to be able to take away. Actually, I know you guys are going to be able to take away. And it's going to dramatically improve the speed of your results. Because most of the time, people are impatient. I know I was impatient, and I would always question myself on if I was working hard enough, if the results weren't coming the way that I wanted them to come in business and in body and in my relationships. Like, if they're not coming fast enough, what am I not doing? I'm not working hard enough. And so you tend to just like go after it. Now, that's the way that I would have acted. But let me tell you the story that kind of prompted this whole episode here, which is last week I got home. And I usually walk in the door around 5:30, 5:45 in the afternoon or the evening, whatever they call that. I think 5:35, 5:45 is the afternoon. So I walk in around that time, and I walk in the back door of my house where the garage comes from. I walk through the laundry room, I walk into the hallway, and I walk into the kitchen, and kids are going crazy, like full on crazy. It's loud, they're dancing, they're running, they're singing, like it was a circus at my house. It was an absolute circus at my house. Not respecting the rules of our house, like they were jumping off the couch. Like when the hell did they ever get that? Like when could they do that? And we couldn't calm them down. Like my wife and I just couldn't calm them down. It was something going on because my daughter's birthday was coming up and they were excited about that. And we couldn't get them to okay guys, like let's pump the brakes on this whole thing. You don't have to run in the house. You don't have to jump off furniture. You don't have to yell. You don't have to sing. You don't have to do like everything that parents don't want to have happen in their house. We could have said every single one of them. Now, I used to get super pissed. That was my go-to response, was like, fuck you guys. Like, I wouldn't say fuck you, but like, that's what I was thinking. Like, if you could actually tell your kids and talk to them like they were adults, like, what would you actually say? But anyway, so I'm sitting there. I used to get pissed, like really, really pissed, and I would blow up. And I'd go, all right, however loud you're talking, I'm going to talk louder. You can't win. I can yell louder than you can yell, so I'm going to win. And I would get super pissed, and I blew up. But instead, what I did when the kids were losing their shit, I went for a walk. I grabbed my wife, we walk out the office door, which is like going out the front of our house, like these French doors, and we go for a walk. Not a long walk, maybe just like a couple hundred yards down the street and back. But we went for a walk. I distanced myself from the situation, which is the lesson in today's episode, which is to give yourself a timeout. Yeah, that's for kids, but it's for you too. That's the lesson. Give yourself the timeout. We all experience problems and frustrations. You're experiencing problems and frustrations in your life right now. I know you are because we all do. But that's nothing to feel guilty or shameful about. It's just what the reality of our world is and our expectations of ourselves. So you're experiencing problems and frustrations. And that's a lot in business because everybody recognizes that they really should be making more than they're making right now. And I agree with this statement. Everybody that I talk to should be making more than they're making right now. And for me, in business, I was always on attack mode. I was always on attack mode. That was the only mode I knew. If there was a problem, I was going to attack it. I was going to put like all of the resources that I had available to me to attacking this problem. I would organize teams, I would organize cash, and everything. I would keep on attacking the problem until it went away entirely. That was at least the goal. But what I found myself doing every time was digging myself in a deeper hole. That's what I was doing. On attack mode, I was doing that. Here's a great example of that. Before I was a business consultant, I had this idea that I was going to be a parenting coach. Now, don't ask me, well, you can ask me how that happened. I was meditating one day and I was doing this thing, this program on direct response marketing, and this was like way early in the game. And a voice came to me in my head and said, you should be a parenting coach. And I'm answering the voice going like, I don't think I should be doing that. I don't have any right to say anything about that. I do not have that shit on lockdown. But the voice in my head still says, no, bro, you got this. So, okay, fine, fuck it. I'll go try to be a parenting coach. And we'd run ads and like we'd do these videos and nothing worked. Like I couldn't make anything work. And so what I decided to do, going on full attack mode, is like, all right, let's just throw more fuel on the fire. Clearly why this isn't working is because we're not spending enough on ads. Max effort is going to fix it. Let's tilt that shit to 11. More videos, more podcasts, more lives, more ads, more variables, more emails, like all this stuff, right? I was like on full-fledged attack mode. And you can imagine why my intensity probably didn't match up with parenting coach very well. You can imagine that, I'm sure. So in any event, I know that I got this problem and I'm on attack mode and I dug myself into a deeper hole because now I'm behind. My ads are worse than they were before because I'm like full on. But I had to take a step back. And had I taken a step back, I would have seen that it was never, ever going to work because I didn't have that on lockdown. And there's this thing in sales, right? And that was one of the problems when I was trying to do that, is I couldn't close anybody. And there is a conviction piece when it comes to sales, which is like, hey, I know my shit's gonna work. Like I know this is gonna work. And so there's like this energetic feel about it where people can tell that you're telling the truth or not telling the truth. And I knew people knew that I wasn't telling the truth when I was on the few sales calls that we actually ended up getting on in that, where I was like, yeah, I can totally help you with your problem. And it's like, no way, man, my energy level just wasn't right. There wasn't conviction in that entire sales conversation. Now, no problem. You come to me and you're like, listen, man, what we need to do is we need to increase our bottom line revenue. We need to increase our profit and we need to increase our top line revenue to make all of our profit that much more valuable. And we got about 6 months to do it. I'm like, that's great. When do we start? Because I know I can do that because I've done that so many times. And there's just a different level of energy about it when I'm on sales calls like that. And so recognizing in this thing where it's like I didn't have the skill on lockdown and I was trying to do something that I really shouldn't have done. And by attacking the problem and not putting myself on a timeout to gain some distance and some perspective on it, I wound up going deeper into a hole of my ad spend and really just loss on that venture and that idea. And that's the thing. Like that's the thing about giving yourself a timeout. And that's just one example. But if you give yourself a timeout, it helps you see things more clearly because you're not in the middle of the fight right now. And I've never been in the military, but I can only imagine what it's like to be in a gunfight and just be doing everything you can to kill as many of the bad guys and you stay alive yourself. And the chaos that's got to go into that and the stress that's got to go into that. I can only imagine what it's like once the gunfight is over and you had some time and some space on it to think about what we do well, what didn't we do well, how could we make something different, like how could we make it better next time? And it's the same exact thing absent the life stakes when it comes to everything you're trying to do. Nobody's shooting guns at you. Hopefully nobody's shooting guns at you, or they shoot bullets at you. They shoot bullets out of a gun. Sorry. In any event, that's the thing. If you're trying too hard, you're just trying too hard and you're letting your emotions take over, then you need to give yourself a timeout. And so that question that I would ask myself and the frustration that I would have that I shared earlier in this, that is, I would always get frustrated when the results weren't coming fast enough. Thinking, why aren't these coming faster? I should be getting results faster. I was entitled. I felt like I should be, like this should be happening for me faster. And it wasn't. The reason it wasn't is because I was trying too hard. And trying too hard dug me into a deeper ditch. So it wasn't about trying harder. It was about stopping and pausing for a second and getting perspective and recognizing what the truth was. And the truth was that was never going to work because I didn't have that shit on lockdown. That's a dramatic example. But there's something going on in your life right now where you're trying too hard. You're trying too hard. And because you're trying too hard, you're never going to get what you want. See, there's this like give and take in the universe. And you can't consistently be tugging on it and trying to take. Sometimes you just have to be willing to accept and let it give. And it's really hard to do. Like, speaking as somebody who knows how hard that is to do, of actually like letting go. I didn't even know what that phrase meant. Let go. That means I don't have to do anything? No, asshole. That means you need to not obsess over it, stop trying so hard, and gain some perspective, because you're going to find the answer in that. Good advice from the universe right there. So the action for this episode here is just to ask yourself the question, where are you trying too hard? Where are you trying too hard? And then find some perspective, get some space on it, take a little break. And depending on the problem, wherever you're trying too hard, that might mean you need to take a break for an hour. That might mean you need to take a break for a week or a month. Whatever the answer is for you is the answer for you. My point is to try to open your eyes to figure out where it is you're trying too hard. And where you're trying too hard, by the way, is where you feel like you should be getting more results faster. Answer that question for you next 24 to 48 hours. That's what I need you to do in exchange for listening to the show today. So go do that, make your life better somehow. And that's all that I can ask of you. All right, guys, that is it. That's the show for the day, everybody. I'm going to do my job and come back next time. I want you to do your job and you come back too.